Hey guys, what's going on? Today you're going to learn how to create your own custom AI chatbot in n8n and how to use that in your Shopify store later on. Okay, so I'm going to show you how it works, how it's done, how you can do it as a beginner if you're learning n8n and automations in general, guys. Okay, so chatbot is a really nice spot to start creating automations because it's fairly simple and beginner friendly. And not just that, even if you're an e-commerce store owner and you want to use chatbot because it's important, it increases your average order value, it improves your customer experience and has a lot of different benefits. So if you learn the basics, you don't need to rely anymore on expensive subscriptions for TDO, or if you use an intercom, for example, or if you want to use something like Shopify chat, okay, because you are committed or enclosed into their platform, okay? So again, if you want chatbot to do something specific and they don't have the functionality, now you need to look for a new chatbot, okay? But with this knowledge, you can grow and scale your own chatbot in any way that you want, and it's going to be way cheaper actually than paying subscription for any other chatbots out there, guys. Okay, so it's a super solid knowledge to know, guys. Either you are a tech savvy entrepreneur who runs a Shopify store and wants to create their own chatbot, or if you're just learning n8n and you want to learn automations and how to build simple chatbots. Okay, guys, so then this video is for you guys because I'll be dropping the entire JSON template for your n8 that you can import and get the same flow for free, and all this massive guide and explanatory guide, guys, even with the source code, guys. Okay, because I've customized the chatbot with HTML, added JS code, CSS, guys, and you will be getting all this for free, guys, with the source code. And I'm gonna explain you how to install that in your Shopify store or any other CRM platform, okay, that you might be using, guys. Okay, so if that sounds good, let's go ahead and dive into it right away. So the first thing, guys, let me show you actually how the chatbot works, behaves, and looks, guys. Okay, so here I'm on my Shopify demo store and our chatbot is right here, guys. Okay, if I click on it, as you guys can see, I'm gonna expand the chatbot. It's responsive, works on desktop and mobile, and it looks pretty decent. Okay, I wasn't focusing on making it super nice and good looking chatbot. My main focus was on logic, so I can explain you guys how you can build one. You can always style the CSS, and styling, that's the easiest part really, guys. So this is how it looks. Here I have some chat data, guys, and the cool part about the chatbot, it persists the data across sessions. Okay, so let me just show you guys. If I, for example, refresh the page and reopen the chat, as you guys can see, all the chat data is still in here, guys. Okay, because I've done it in a way that it stores all the chat history in the browser's local storage and session storage, or it resets after 24 hours. Okay, but you can adjust as you want, guys, in any way that you feel like it works better for your business, guys. But as an example, I did that, and I'll explain you later how it works and how you can change that yourself. Okay, guys. So here, let's test drive the chatbot. Okay, so I'm gonna say like, hi there. Okay, let's give it a minute or second. It's actually pretty fast. Why I'm saying minute, guys? Look, it's boom. It was like 5 seconds, and it says, "Hi there. How can I assist you today?" And it says we have a variety of products available from pet grooming kits to stylish clothing and accessories, guys. Which is true, guys, because if I go to collections all, which essentially Shopify's URL handle to pull all the products, which is true. I have some pet products and women's fashion, guys, because it's a demo store, so a bunch of different products, guys. So it has the context of everything we have, and we are using something called webhook to communicate between the n8n and the Shopify store and pull the data from the Shopify URLs as well, guys. I'm going to show you in n8n flow later on how I'm doing that and how you can do that with your Shopify store. Okay, so let's go back to testing our chat here. So I'm going to say here, I need a maybe t-shirts. Am I typing it correctly? I need a t-shirt for my girlfriend. Okay, I think I made a typo, so let's actually see if it understands if I made a typo, guys. Cool. It's also just kind of a good way to testing and seeing how far we can push it. So it got it. Well, it got exactly what I wanted, which is good, guys. It gets the typos, understands me, perfect. So here it says, sure, while we don't have a specific t-shirt listed, okay, which is true, we do have a fancy casual shirt that might be a great option for a girlfriend. Okay, so here it doesn't reply with something. No, sorry, unfortunately, we don't have it. Boom, and in the chat, it actually tries to offer you something else, which is exactly what you want in e-commerce. Okay, because like in any other sales process. Okay, I don't have this product, but we might have something like this. Here it is. And let me know what you think about it, okay, if that works for you, or maybe we can look for something else, okay? So it's really doing the basics and it's offering you something else inside, which is pretty awesome, guys. So that's working out pretty cool. And I've even created a chatbot in a way that it can give an actual link that customer could click on and go on the product page, okay? So it's really basic, but pretty cool option. Again, you can customize the chatbot in a way that it even can help you add items to cart and, you know, offer bundles and discounts, guys. But again, this is really the base core. Once you learn and master this, you can honestly do so many cool things, guys, with this chatbot. Okay, you can do pretty much anything that you can imagine, you know, offering bundles, discounts, you know, increasing your AOV conversion rates, guys. This chatbot can help you do that down the road, guys. Cool. So this is how it looks. This is how it works on the Shopify, guys. Now let's go into n8n and explore the backend of it, guys. All right. So let me just close this one and let's go to n8. Let me just zoom in, guys. And as I mentioned, I wanted this video and course to be like super beginner friendly, guys. So that's why I'm including this super massive sticky note explaining every single step I've done, guys. How I did, how it works behind the scenes, guys. Okay, common issues that you might be facing, guys, how to solve them, guys. You know, HTML structure, CSS styling, guys. All of that is explained in here. So even if you're as a beginner, guys, by building this chatbot and following all these instructions, guys, not only you're going to be familiar with n8 and basics, but also you're going to be familiar with the basics of HTML, CSS, and JS, at least how it works and what it does, guys. Okay, which is pretty awesome. So this is massive value in such a short course, guys. But again, all of this is explained in detail. So make sure to download this JSON template and follow the steps, guys. Okay, and I'm as well including a source code, guys, because as I mentioned, the chatbot is using custom HTML, div, and JS on the Shopify side. And I'm including all of the source code, guys, in here that you're going to be able to download. And I'm going to explain you just a little bit how you can install that and use that in your Shopify store. Okay, guys, so don't worry. It looks complicated and a lot of things going on, but I'll explain you. I'll hold your hand and you will know exactly how to do that, guys. Don't worry about it. Awesome, guys. So now let's move on and actually see how the whole thing works in n8n here, guys. Okay. So we're starting the flow with something called webhook, okay? So this is the node, and essentially it serves as a webhook. And webhook is essentially a sort of a link or a bridge that transmits real-time data from n8n to Shopify and vice versa, guys, okay? We need webhook to connect to Shopify, and that's essentially what it does, guys, okay? So think of as a webhook as a connection string between two things or two people or whatever, guys, would makes more sense in your head, guys. So essentially it's used to communicate and send real-time data like chat inputs and responses and etc, guys. Okay, so after that we are setting our variables here in the variables node, and think of variables essentially as something that varies or changes. Okay, so in our case we're using two variables, we just is session ID and chat input. Okay, so they are variables because session ID is not static. Okay, it's going to be changing every time there's a new session ID. It's something for chat input. Okay, so chat input, guys, I'm sure you're getting it. So it's a data that customer is entering in a chat input. So obviously every time chat input data is different. That's why it is a variable, because the data is variable and it's changing each time. Okay, then we're moving on to scraping our website data. And to scrape our website data, we're essentially using a very simple HTTP request node. I just renamed it as a scrape website, but it's essentially a HTTP request node in n8n. Okay, and we're using a get method. Okay, so we use get method to get something from a source website or from a source platform, guys, whatever it is, guys. Okay, it can be any API endpoint, guys, or URL, guys. So get method is always used to get something from somewhere. Okay, so we're getting this Shopify URL, guys. Let me just go ahead and show you that. This is essentially a Shopify handle to show all of your products available on your Shopify store. Okay, so we're essentially scraping the data behind the scenes, guys. So let me just show you here. If I go into a DevTools, okay, so we have all of this code here. So let me just highlight maybe this product right here, guys. So this product has its own HTML structure. We have the div classes, the prices, and prices are wrapped in the spans and in sections and their p tags. Okay, so all of this essentially being scraped by our get method. Okay, we're scraping the product, how many products, the titles, the prices, and etc. guys. Okay, and essentially that is why we have this URL. So the get method is scraping the data from this URL. Okay, so after that we are going to be sending this data to a custom JS node called extract content node, but essentially it's a code node that's using JavaScript. Okay, and JavaScript essentially will be extracting and processing all this raw data into something that AI agent can understand and transmit that to a customer in a user-friendly language. Okay. So all it does, it's getting all the variables, it's getting all the HTML raw data. Okay, then we're using a regular expression. Regular expression essentially it's a sort of a snippet or code. Okay, to get you different type of data from the website. So in my case, I'm using it to make sure I'm catching all of the links and URL types from the Shopify website. Okay, so here we have a handles like products. Okay, we have handles for hrefs, which are essentially a links, guys. So regular expression, essentially think of it as a smart tool, okay, or piece of code that can essentially look at all of this messy data and extract specific data that you're looking for. So in my case, I'm listing everything that has a product handle and everything that has a href code in the code as well, guys. So if you guys check, if you guys again go back to our Shopify store right here, guys. Okay, let me just preview that and let me go back again to the collections here. So if I again, let me go back to here it is, to developer tools, and if I look for href here, hold on guys, we are looking for specifically those ones. So here guys, we have these href links right here guys, so href code. Okay, so we are essentially extracting that using regular expressions. So href, everything that has a product handle and etc guys, and that's where the regular expression come in handy guys, to essentially work with messy data and get the data we want in a clean way. Okay, so kind of like cleanup tool, I would say, think of it. Then we're running a basic while loop, okay, to go through all of the data that a regular expression got for us. Okay, then we're getting the product links, guys, okay, and all of the other links that are relevant, guys, okay, and essentially that's what it does throughout the code, guys, okay, and then we're returning all of that in a JSON format, such as chat input and the entire website content. Okay, guys, so that's essentially in a basic terms how it works, guys. Okay, if you didn't understand how this JS code works, if you have any more questions about it, let me know down in the comments, guys, and I will happily explain you in more depth about this, guys. Okay, so my focus here is not explaining what each of these lines of codes mean, guys. Okay, just I want to explain you everything in a summary way, how it works and connected and what it does between each other, guys. But if you have any questions about specifically JavaScript or HTML or CSS, whatever you guys want to know, let me know down in the comments, guys, and I will gladly help you guys, or I can even drop a free course on that, guys, if that's going to help you more, guys. Okay, so let's move on to the next node, which is the fun part, aka our AI agent. And here we're essentially just using this for a prompt. Okay, and here we have saying essentially customer said, and we're using the dynamic variable JSON data, guys. If you remember chat input, guys. Okay, so it's pulling the chat input data from the chat input variable, guys. If you guys remember, variable changes, chat input, there's always going to be a new chat input from the customer. So we're taking that as a JSON variable right here. Okay, and then we are essentially pulling all the website content data from the JS script, guys. So if you remember, guys, we had this JS node right here, and we have here website content in a JSON format. Okay, and that's essentially what's coming from. So all of this is extracting the data and then putting it into JSON format and sending it to AI agent so it can be later on used in here, guys. Which is pretty awesome. We want to start getting in how things flow between each other. And then we're using a very basic flow: be helpful and conversational. When customer asks for a link or want to buy something, provide actual product URLs, and all that stuff, guys. So basic prompt, nothing really here. Help them actually shop, okay, guys? Because the problem with when you're prompting AI models like OpenAI, guys, if you don't say that, be conversational or actually be helpful and actually have a conversation like you would have a conversation with a human, it's going to give you very static and boring answers. Okay, so we don't make sure that the chat conversation sounds something like you would have with ChatGPT as close as possible, guys. Okay, because that's going to give you the best user experience, guys. Okay, and guys, when you're going to be downloading this entire JSON template, don't worry, all these prompts will be already in there, guys. So they're not going to be reset or whatever, guys. You're going to have all of them the minute you download the JSON and import it in your n8n. You're going to have all this already good to go. Okay, so then, guys, if you guys know, when you're using n8 agent, AI agents, okay, you need to connect it to a AI chat model. If we're using GPT-4o, I do like using the 4o model because it's the most conversational and the more human-like. If you're using something like 4.1 mini or whatever, 3.5 turbo, it just sounds a little bit static and not as dynamic as the 4o. Again, it's not really, it is the most expensive model, but it's not as expensive when we are using it to process plain text and data, okay? Obviously, if you have a huge e-commerce website and it's like thousands of people coming in a website and chatting, okay, you might see a higher price tag. But again, as a beginner, if you don't have too much traffic on your website or just like building the flow, guys, it's not gonna be costing you too much. But if you see a spike in API pricing, guys, billing, then just change the model to something like 4.1 mini, and you're gonna be paying like 10 times less than for the 4o model, okay, guys? Because at the end of the day, we're just basically processing text, guys. Okay, we're not generating images or complex logic, guys. So you can also use the 4.1 if your API billing is too high, guys. Okay, and if you have a lot of traffic as well. And then we're storing something called chat memory. Essentially, it's a n8n's built-in simple memory node. Okay, so we're storing the 5 last chats in the context window. Okay, so our AI agent has access to 5 previous chats for the context, guys. Okay, and once it reaches 5, it's gonna be saving the next 5. Okay, you can obviously do this to 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever you want, guys. But remember, every time user starts a conversation, the AI model is gonna go and look back at those 50 chats, gonna go through it, okay, gonna analyze it, and that's gonna might create a delay. Okay, it might not be too much because at the end of the day, we're just analyzing raw text data. Okay, but you can play around and see how much you can put in terms of like not creating a enormous delay for your users, guys. Okay. And that's essentially, guys, how it works for the n8n. So it's fairly simple. As I said, it's really easy to build AI chatbot in n8n and really learn the basics of automation and get into the n8n overall. Okay, but now, guys, let's explore a bit more complex section in terms of like how we actually are getting all this to work in Shopify. Okay, because obviously this is one thing, and the chatbot actually being in Shopify and doing all of this, okay, transmitting the data, it's something different, guys. And let me explain you how I did it, guys. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna go to my Shopify, guys. Okay, and if you remember, I gave you a link to a source code for the HTML, CSS, and JS, guys, right here, guys. Okay, and I made HTML comments here to make sure you know where each section starts. So here we have chatbot styles or CSS. If you scroll down, guys, let me just go down. So here where we have a div, okay, so that's a chatbot HTML layout, okay, and then chatbot logic. So all of that is separated to make sure that you can copy paste correctly and you don't mix all of it together, guys. Okay, so let me show you how you're gonna do that to make sure it works in your Shopify store. So you're gonna go to a Shopify store first of all, and then you're gonna click on your current theme, or if your theme is in draft, whatever it is, guys. So you're gonna click on the 3 dots, gonna click on edit code, okay, and then you're gonna search for this theme.liquid, okay. So okay, guys, I'm putting all of this into theme.liquid. If any of you are like developers or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, this guy's gonna put everything into theme.liquid, yes, for demo purposes I will. Like in a production level environment, I would of course create a separate section or a yeah, I would probably create a separate section in the Shopify folder, okay, and I would essentially convert that into a liquid, okay, so all the div sections and everything, I would convert that into a liquid, and I would create a separate style sheet for the CSS, or I would just drop it into the theme's base CSS folder for the styling, and then I would probably drop the JS code in the theme's base JS template. Okay, so everything is kind of properly separated based on each concern. Okay, but since we're using it for demo purpose, guys, I'm just showing you the fast and beginner friendly way to do, guys. Okay, it works both ways. It's more about, you know, organizing and architecturing your data correctly, guys. Okay, but this method works fine, guys. If you want me to show you the production level way of doing that, guys, let me know down in the comments. I'll also drop a short course on that as well, guys, without any problems. So the first thing I'm gonna be looking for, so here I'm gonna be looking for the styles. Okay, so I'm gonna go and search for the styles. Here it is, guys. So for the styles, you want to make sure that you copy paste the styles section just before the closing head tag in the Shopify. So if I scroll all the way down here, let me just show you how that looks, guys. So if I scroll all the way down here, okay, so here, this is the closing head tag, okay? So you want to make sure that you just copy paste your style tag just before this one ends, and make sure you don't mix it with any other Shopify snippets or code, guys. So here, bring the style here, do a enter to make sure you have space, and copy paste the style tag in there, and then save, guys. Okay, that's step number one. So make sure copy pasting the style tag right before the head tag. Okay, next up we have our chatbot HTML layout. Okay, so for that one, this one we're going to be dropping in our body tag. Okay, so right before the closing body tag, and let me show you how that looks, guys. So in your HTML code, you're going to be essentially looking for a let me see, guys. Here, guys, you guys see the body tag right here. So usually it's the last one before the HTML, before you're closing the entire HTML structure in Shopify. So just before the HTML, there's a body tag. So you can drop your HTML somewhere before that. Okay, so it doesn't matter. In my case, I have the script and the HTML layout on top, but you can reverse them. Honestly, it's going to be the same thing. So in my case, just before the body tag, you're going to be dropping the HTML structure, and right after that, you're going to be dropping the chatbot logic, JS logic. Okay, so if I'm going to search for it, it's right here, and as you guys can see, I'm dropping it right after the chatbot HTML layout. Okay, here is the chatbot logic right here, guys. So one is below the other, or you can reverse them. You can have the logic on top and the HTML above, but usually just how the standard like code structure works in Shopify. You're gonna have custom scripts all the way on the bottom, just before the closing body tag, and then you have the HTML on the upper side. Okay, but honestly, even if you reverse them, it's still gonna work. Okay, it's not gonna break anything. Okay, as long as you don't copy paste them into each other, that's gonna break it. But if you want to have one up or down, it's gonna be essentially the same thing. Okay, guys, so let me now fast explain you what these do, guys. So let me start with the JS logic. Okay, guys, so here we have this okay, guys, before I jump into that, make sure to save that. Okay, so once you copy paste everything, okay, make sure that you click here on save. Okay, if you don't save it, refresh the page, all of your changes will be done, and you will need to do the whole thing over again, guys. Okay, so that's kind of annoying part about Shopify. It doesn't auto save stuff. So make sure once you've copy pasted all of these snippets, okay, make sure to hit that save button right there, guys. All right. Okay, so let me start with chatbot logic. So chatbot logic is using a custom script from using JavaScript. Here we have a class-based JavaScript. Essentially, think of a class-based JavaScript as something that creates a recipe for something. Okay, so here we are creating a recipe for a chatbot. Okay, so essentially that's what it does. It constructs a class of a chatbot in simple terms. Okay, and then we essentially initializing the session. Then we're initializing elements, meaning like, you know, chat inputs, the dots, loading states, all that stuff, guys. Okay, so all the visual elements, we're initializing that. Okay, Then we're attaching event listeners. Okay, we need event listeners to listen for all the events, like users sending the chat, clicking the buttons, all that stuff, guys. So we are attaching event listeners. Okay, and then we are using auto resize. Okay, so just essentially responsiveness between the desktop and the mobile. Okay, here we're initializing the session. Okay, because if you guys remember, we are storing our session in a browser's session storage. Okay, so if user refresh the page, the chat will be there unless they wipe their cache and cookies and all that stuff. Then the session will be deleted from the chatbot. Okay, in a more complex environment, you could use something like a MongoDB or PostgreSQL to actually send the chat history to your database. But that's a video for another day, guys. If you want me to show how to integrate chatbots with MongoDB or PostgreSQL or any other database, I believe also we can do it with Supabase and pretty much any other database out there available. Let me know down in the comments, guys, and I'm going to build a chatbot showing you how you can implement that into a third-party database as well, okay? And how to perform more complex database logic and functionalities with your chatbot. Okay, so we're storing that. Then we have the function to essentially restore previous conversation if there is one. Okay, then we have the option to clear session because we have a option here. So if I click on it, okay, it should clear the session. So I'm clicking on it, but it's not exactly, okay, here it is. If I click OK, now it cleared the session, guys, which is pretty cool, guys. So if you refresh, now we should be all cleared. And if I start a new conversation again, if I click on hi, for example, okay, and there goes. And if I refresh, now that should be again stored to our local storage and session. Cool, guys. So that works. As you guys can see, we can manually clear it, guys. Like here, get notification, clear session history. This will start a new session. Okay, so pretty cool stuff, guys. Let me close that. So that's what it does here. Okay, attaching event listeners. Okay, as you guys mentioned, attaching like any type of event listeners within the chatbot. Okay, we're attaching those to the logic. Okay, auto resize, just really some responsiveness and stuff like that, guys. Okay, toggling chat, guys. So you need functionality to actually open close chat. All that stuff, guys. Okay, and essentially that's what it is. And let me just show you guys actually how it connects between n8n and the chatbot. I think that's the most important part for you to understand here, guys. Okay, so let me just scroll down here, and guys, here is the webhook URL right here. So here, guys, if you look at it, we have a webhook URL. Okay, and if I go back to n8n, okay, here, guys, this is our webhook. Okay, and here we have this URL right here. And if we compare it with our webhook URL, it's exactly the same one here, guys. Okay, guys, this is a really important note. I hope you watched until this end, because if you're gonna import this into your n8n and your Shopify, it's gonna break because you need to change your webhook URL to your webhook URL from n8n. Okay, so when you're gonna be creating your n8n flow, essentially you will need to delete this right here and add a new one. So n8n will generate a brand new webhook URL based on your n8n based on your n8n URL. Okay, because here we have our company, the beautify.app n8n.cloud, but you're gonna have your own. Okay, right now it's using ours. So if you use n8n as it is, out of the box, it's gonna say that there is a connection error because you are using essentially the wrong webhook URL. Okay, so something to note, make a note somewhere to make sure you change the webhook URLs. That's essentially how it connects with your Shopify store, or if you're going to be using it in WordPress, same principle applies. You're going to be bringing all of this code and you will essentially apply it in the same way. So the CSS will go before the closing head tag, and the rest of it will go before the closing body tag. Okay, so WordPress, Wix, they all use the same structure. Okay, so we're going to be applying the same principles in there, guys. Okay, or if you have a completely custom website, guys, then I assume you are familiar with the basics of web dev, so you will know exactly what to do with this stuff. Okay, guys, then we have the very basics of HTML. Let me just scroll up to our HTML structure here. So this is our HTML structure. Honestly, there's nothing really much to explain. HTML is a sort of a markup language for the browsers. It's not exactly HTML is not a program language. It's a markup language for browsers to interpret the data and show it to the user. Okay, so it's really simple. Everything is wrapped in the divs. Here we have some buttons. Okay, so if you kind of read line by line, you'll kind of understand exactly what it is. So HTML is like super easy to understand and learn. So even if you don't know anything of zero tech background, it's very easy to understand with a naked eye what it does. So think of it as HTML, so it's sort of as just a structuring your website, or structuring your web app, or structuring a your chatbot. Okay, so if I again go to my website, to my Shopify store, guys, let me just explain you visually so you understand it better. It's easier to learn that way. So if I go to my Shopify and preview this, okay, with this, okay, so we have the chatbot here. So we have a essentially this right here, the little chatbot icon, and we have the chatbot box. Okay, so all of this is wrapped in the HTML. So this is HTML div. Okay, this is HTML button. Okay, and HTML input, guys. So if I look at the structure here, guys, you can see this is the main wrapper. The container is this entire thing right here, guys. Okay, and then we have the chat toggle, and chat toggle essentially is this one right here, guys. So it's toggling it. Okay, so it's also HTML, and then we have the H3 tile, guys, here. If you look at it here, so here we have Shop Assistant. Okay, so these are H3 titles, guys, and etc., guys. Here we have chat send button. Okay, guys, so here it is. This is the send button. Okay, and then we style it with the CSS and make it do something with the JS logic we discussed just a couple of minutes ago before, guys. Okay, so it all comes together into play as one and creates this nice looking chatbot. Okay, but again, guys, this is fully custom solution. Okay, you're not depending on any type of services. You don't have to pay subscription fees. Okay, you're gonna be just paying for API calls to OpenAI, guys, and it's fairly cheap, even if you're using like the cheapest models, guys. So the only cost you have here is n8n and OpenAI, and you can scale this to pretty much anything that you want. Okay, and if you are into B2B and you need to have a lead gen, you can essentially customize the chatbot to collect leads and emails and actually try to convert people to give their emails and etc. Explain your service, guys. So if you are if you are in B2B, and if you want me to create a separate AI agent slash bot for B2B and lead gen, guys, let me know down in the comments, guys, and I'm gonna drop as well a course on how you can do that in n8n yourself, okay, and connect to your platform, CRM, or whatever you guys using, you know, guys. So as long as your platform allows custom code implementation, guys, you can build these ones yourself, okay? So let me know in the comments, guys, and I'll drop a free course on that. No worries. And guys, that's essentially a wrap. Okay, so we guys discussed n8n, creating a custom flow, creating a custom agent, guys. I'm including all the source code, guys. Okay, I explained you the basics of HTML, CSS, JS, guys. Essentially everything you need to know for the foundations, guys. Okay, and there's also this massive sticky note with step-by-step and explanations of how everything works, guys. Okay. But if you run into any issues or any help, guys, let me know down in the comments, guys, and I'm gonna help you out, guys, so don't worry about it, okay? So we are all learners here, okay? And my mission here is to make sure that you learn the n8n and pretty much anything you need to start building your own automations, guys, okay? So don't be shy, leave a comment and let me know, let me know down in the comments what exactly you need help with, okay? So other than that, it's a wrap, guys. So don't forget to download the JSON template. All the links are in here as well, guys. And yeah, guys, that's it. If you enjoyed the comment, you can like and subscribe so I can drop more of this free value-packed content for you guys, okay? And that's it, guys. I'll see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed the video.